Um, okay, one more thing I want to ask you before I close off this interview. So, over the last couple of weeks and months, something that's been an idea that's been playing around in my mind is the concepts of visualization, focus, and manifestation. And I think manifestation gets a bad rep because it's a concept that doesn't really get explained. It's a multi-layered concept, right? Because manifestation is not just thinking about something. A thought is an intention that you set for yourself, and then the actions that follow create this thought. It makes it reality.
100%.
But it all starts with that thought. What I'd like to know is, if you look at the life that you have today, is it something that you visualized for yourself at a younger age, having a beautiful wife, a beautiful daughter, and another child on the way, a career that challenges you and makes you grow, abundance financially, personally, spiritually, intellectually? I mean, obviously, I know you've got your own things that you want to improve in your life, but from the outside, you do look like a very well-rounded, successful individual. And I want to know, did visualization and manifestation play a role in that for you?
Yeah. So I think the reality is that, I mean, we are the only, from how to say, creatures on earth that have the ability to imagine, right? So I think that's the first thing that everyone needs to be very aware of. And the reality is that what makes us different from a dog and a lion and a chimpanzee is the ability to imagine. And I, lucky enough, was able to understand that at a very young age, purely because I was able to see my parents, who came from a very poor background, basically carve their way through life by consistently imagining how much better it could be if they did certain things and stuck to doing it. So for me, I apply manifestation every day of my life, irregardless of whether I'm going through a good or a bad time. And I attach my visual thoughts or my imagination to what I'm doing today. Because essentially, that's what gives you the fuel, petrol, to continue doing it, right?
Yeah.
Because the reality is that what you, and this is a very common thing that everyone knows, and I think the term is commercialized, right? But what you think about most eventually happens. However, what nobody says is that what you think about most won't happen if your actions aren't aligned to producing what you're thinking about.
Yes.
So the manifestation, the thinking of it, needs to be supported by the doing in the time when it isn't in your physical appearance, in order for it to come to fruition. And like to take it back to like the holy books or like the Bible, if you like read like the book of Genesis, and yes, I'm not the most like religious person, but I have read most of the holy books. The art of creation is manifestation. It is the process of thinking, and while thinking, doing, in the belief that what you're doing is going to bring about what you're thinking.
Yes.
Yes, it doesn't always happen. Unfortunately, that's life. But the reality is that, also to go back to Murphy's Law, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
Right? So while you're doing, yes, what you're thinking about may not come to fruition, but the universe knows your effort. The universe knows your core intention. And based on you doing what you need to do and doing it in such great faith, the universe will reward you accordingly. And 99% of the time when people become successful or highly successful, they always tell you, I never imagined I would be this successful. I've watched a lot of interviews of like multimillionaires and billionaires or big sports stars.
Sure.
They all knew they were going to be successful, but not as successful as they are today.
Sure.
And in that journey of manifestation, a lot of them had big failures, right? But because the universe acknowledged the effort and the genuine intention to better based on this thought you were having, back to Murphy's Law, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. the universe then granted them something that was bigger than what they even imagined. So for me, that's what manifestation is about.
Sure.
And I consistently visualize what I want. But if that doesn't happen, I still believe that through me doing these efforts, the universe will guide me, even through failure, to a place where I'm meant to be, and to a place which may be even better than what I'm imagining for myself.
That's a great point, because there's a couple of things there. One, sometimes you get what you need and not what you want.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get what you need and not what you want. And
Exactly.
that's, it's like you talk about faith and spirituality. When you say to God, God guide me, God sometimes guides you in places that you don't want to go, but you need to go. And that place,
100%. 100%.
The second thing is, when you start a journey, especially when you've never been to the destination that you're trying to get to, you not know what it looks like.
Yeah.
So, I talk, for me, it's a big concept about it is intention. It's about intent and alignment. You talk about alignment a lot. I remember you and I had a conversation. You spoke about alignment. Alignment for me is when your intentions and your actions are the same.
100%. 100%.
And if you are not in alignment, you're not going to be successful, because you can have beautiful intentions, but if your actions are contrary to that, you're not going to get anywhere. It's like saying, I want to go to Cape Town, but you're driving in the opposite direction.
Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, above all, it's also just about understanding that, like, you're also part of a system. You're part of a construct, right? You're part of like a galaxy that operates in a certain way.
Sure.
Like you can't defy the laws, and you need to operate within those laws and at the frequency of those laws in order to be you.
Yes.
That's just the reality. A lion is a lion.
Yes.
Right? A lion can't be a chicken.
Exactly.
And that's the same thing about being a human. That's the same thing about being a man. That's the same thing about wanting to be an achiever. An achiever is an achiever, right? But an achiever, to be an achiever, must do what achievers do to achieve.
Yeah.
And the road to success is a dark one. It's a road that has lots of disappointments, right? And it's a road that, unfortunately, only the few can take, purely because it requires you to consistently do without seeing, and hope and believe that, obviously, irregardless of where the universe takes you, like you said, even to the places you don't want to go, you will go, because it is the way to go.
And it's like visualization and hope are two things that are inseparable, because that is part of visualization. It's having hope that the future can be better than the present. And it's like an act of prayer. You're putting this message to the universe and to God, basically, of saying, like, I believe that this can be true. But T, I just want to say thank you so much for answering the questions the way you have and sharing the knowledge that you have. I think it can help a lot of people. It helped me massively. And I know I'm going to be listening to this episode by myself with an exam pad, taking notes selfishly. So I want to wrap this up. And this is not the last time that I'm going to interview you, for sure. Before we say goodbye, I just want to ask, if you were speaking to 21-year-old Taneo, and you were going to use the benefit of hindsight, what would you say to him?
Sure, that's a good question. So for me, going back, I would definitely say be willing to fail more. I think, like I said, failure is an essential part of growth. And number two, share more, give more, right? And interact more with people who come from different backgrounds than you do, because that's where knowledge hides. Knowledge hides in places where you wouldn't expect it to be hiding, and that lies in indifference. And that's why, like, South Africa as a country is one of the most respected in the world, because of the diversity that we have as a country. So for me, like I said, share more, give more, and spend more time with people from different backgrounds, because that's where knowledge hides.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, my brother. I really appreciate it.
Cool. I
All right,
appreciate it, eh?
everybody.
And yeah, we'll chat soon.
That's the episode. And next time you're going to have T interviewing me. So
Awesome. I
man.
can't wait.
All right. Cheers, everyone.